Nobody's going to put me in a balloon again. Welcome back to Bad Movies Rule, the worst movie podcast ever created. And here we champion the movies of the people. And this Halloween, we're talking about Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I've never been more excited to talk about one of these crummy movies than I am today.
I, too, am excited.
That makes maybe three of you, depending on Pat. And Brady. Oh, forward, Brady.
The reason I'm so excited is because we have been waiting. When we started this podcast, I said, when can we get Pat Riley to come in and do the show? And he told me, if you guys do Killer Klowns from Outer Space, I will come on the show. So joining us for the first time ever, all the way from Madison, Wisconsin, is Patrick Riley. Patrick, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thanks. Yeah, this is the epitome of my favorite bad anything in the world.
Perfect. Well, then and this is the timing worked out great because it's gonna be Halloween in a couple of days when this comes out, and it's couldn't think of a better time to do this. Also with us I'm used to saying this morning, but it's not this morning. But with us is Joseph Goratowski. How are you doing today, Joe?
I'm not doing too bad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. This is your first time back in a while?
Yeah, I've been away.
I'm happy
the show's going to shit. I mean, I've been gone for a while. No. Damn it. I've been gone for a while, but and the show's really going down the hole. But here I'm coming back. I'm here to help bring everything back up.
Give us another 100 episodes. I think we'll finally crack this thing.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Also joining us is Kurt Mummer. Kurt, you having a good day?
I'm having a great day.
It looks like you're having a great day because, now that we have a video cast, people can see you're dressed straight up like a clown.
That's what I do. I come in, I dress up. And I mean, I was doing it before there was even any visual media.
True.
He was doing it before it was cool.
But now I'm here. I'm happy that people can actually see you.
Everyone else can see too. I don't know about Brady, but you guys probably have 8 weeks worth of growth on your faces, and this is also my 8 weeks worth of growth on my face. So,
Patrick has not shaved. He told me today since the pandemic started.
Well, the shaving has been more than that, but no haircuts since the pandemic started,
bro.
I haven't shaved my face. Well, I've been with my wife now almost 6 years.
Okay.
She's never seen me without a beard, God. So.
That's crazy. I see. I have. I think I knew you more without it than
You're
with
like
it.
the Madison Mountain Man.
Yeah. Well, I don't even live in Madison though. I'm out in the country, so I got to appeal to the locals.
Gotcha.
I see.
Yeah. This is not a hipster beard.
This is an attempt to blend in.
No, that is definitely you definitely look
Jeremiah
like a
Johnson
man.
would be proud.
This is more of a self-preservation thing. Is that what you're saying? You got to blend in.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Also beaming all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, we're joined by Brady Cox. Brady, how's Nebraska today?
Pew, pew. Some beaming for you.
Oh, got it. Got it.
It's good. My allergies are kicking me in the booty.
All right.
But, other than that, I'm good.
You allergic to corn? What else out there in Nebraska that can make you allergic? They got trees out there?
They do have trees. It is the home of Arbor Day.
Okay, well, I feel like I drove through Nebraska and it was nothing but flat nothingness. Not to denigrate an entire state, but this is just my experience.
Some people like that.
Hey, they have a great zoo.
In Nebraska?
Yeah.
They have a zoo?
It's pretty awesome.
That's a nice zoo.
They have a giant swampland. That's pretty awesome.
I went
you walk above alligators. It's amazing.
I went to Nebraska's gas station one time. It was pretty nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just the one?
Yeah.
Nice.
Good.
Did you get gas?
Wow.
Yeah, I had to. You can't make it across the state.
Kind of have to, right? Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for coming in today. And I also just want to say I appreciate you listening at home. Thanks for listening today. Depending on where you catch us, we're at anywhere you can find podcasts these days, Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find us. If your platform, especially Apple, uses a review system, it would be a great big help to us if you could rate us or review us on there. It would really help the podcast and help us get out there. And we just appreciate that you're listening. So even if you don't want to do anything but listen, continue to do that. We're just happy you're here. You can follow the show on Facebook at facebook.com/badmoviesrule. And like I said, I think I've said many, many times, if you want to communicate with the show, and finally the emails are starting to roll in.
I've heard.
Yes.
I'm missing these.
Yes, they're coming in.
I enjoyed the Mailbag Monday recently.
Thank
you. It was
you.
Fantastic.
Well, next time we get a handful, we'll do another one, and you can join us for that one.
I would love to.
But you want to email the show. It's thisshowIstrash@gmail.com. We're just trying to keep things honest. That's all.
You can find us anywhere. I mean, just look in your hamper.
Gosh.
In your bathroom or the closet or the toilet.
Right, and if you find us in the toilet, do not call the police.
But not the trash.
That's right.
We're not there.
Guys, we are talking about a movie that I had not seen since I was a little kid. And this is, as I said in the intro, Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Let's get some of the vitals out of the way, and then we can just dive straight into this thing. This movie was directed by Steven Chiodo. Do you guys have a take on it? Is that his last name?
It's the Chiodo brothers.
The Chiodo. It's Chiodo.
The Chiodo brothers.
Okay.
There's about 6 of them, I think.
I was going to say,
gosh.
it seemed like going through the credits, there was 5 or 6 different
Right. Well, from
Chiodos.
what it said that Steven directed it, and then it was written by him and his brother Charles. But there's even more than those two.
Yeah, and they've gone on to do some stuff. The movie Critters, Ernest, Scared Stupid.
Okay. They did Ernest Scared Stupid?
Yeah, they were involved. I don't know exactly what level they were involved with.
The old lady where she says something, and her face changes. They're like, special
Large
effects
Marge.
designer.
Yeah,
They're the Large Marge guys.
Yeah, Large Marge.
Dinner for Schmucks. They did the mouse diorama.
Oh, sure.
Part of it, and they did one. I think a Treehouse of Horror. They were involved with for The Simpsons too. So,
well, look, I'm not going to crap on them too much here because what they were able to do with a $2 million budget is actually really impressive. What they, could create.
sure.
Given, I know $2 million sounds like a lot of money, but when you're doing a big time film, it's really not. Just the sets alone could have cost that much, right? And so the fact they were able to build all these clowns and have it still, work is impressive. So I came out of this having a level of respect for these two, even though it's a ridiculous movie.
Yeah, that's one word you could use for it.
We're going to cover a few more.
Yeah, so written by Steven and his brother Charles, and it starred Grant Kramer, Suzanne Snyder, John Allen Nelson, and John Vernon, who, speaking of Ernest, was also the evil guy from Ernest Goes to Camp, right? The guy that played the insane cop.
Yep.
Was trying
Mooney?
to shut down. Yeah, Mooney.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Mooney's also a voice actor.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him as General Ross in the 1990s Hulk cartoon. And he was also Rupert Thorne from the Batman the Animated Series.
Okay.
So I heard that right away, and I said, I know this guy.
He's the only guy I recognized when I watched the movie, but it was just from Ernest. And I'm amazed we've already made
Animal
2.
House.
Oh, is he?
He's the dean in Animal House.
Oh,
as well.
yeah. Duh. Oh, I feel like such an idiot. You're right. He's the dean in Animal House. Isn't that sad that I go, oh, that's the guy from Ernest Goes to Camp.
That's where you went.
That guy probably is
Animal
mad.
House.
And I've seen Animal House, so I have no excuse. But you're right.
There's somebody in the middle of an angry email already.
It's probably Clint,
right.
and he's starting it off with, how dare you.
This guy didn't put in all that time in Animal House to be known as the guy from Ernest Goes to Camp. I understand. Yeah, and then the budget, as I said, for this movie was $2 million. This thing, I actually, after I was done looking into the vitals here, I thought, does this belong on this podcast? Because it was not a bomb. It made $43 million in worldwide gross off of a $2 million budget. So financially, very successful and
Better than Megaforce.
way better than Megaforce. It's above a 6 on IMDb. It's a 6.2 and a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. So where's the evidence that this is a bad movie?
The acting is awful. The plot line is inconsistent.
There is no plot.
There is no plot.
Exactly. The location of this place is kind of like
really dark.
Springfield.
Yeah, it's
Because
really dark.
there's times where it's like out in the country, but then it's a college town. But then like it's got New York license plates, but a California highway street sign at one point. You can the zipper is visible on the back of the clowns. There's a hand of the puppeteer that shows up a couple times.
That's true.
The faces work better than the Garbage Pail Kid.
All right, why don't you pump the brakes there for because there was a couple times where that was like one of the eyes is like not working, and it's
always with the wonky eye.
All right, so I think it qualifies after watching it, right? I was like, okay, but it makes no sense that the numbers are what they are.
Because it's a cult classic.
And I think that when you go back to Rotten Tomatoes, none of the reviews that are being counted towards that 76%
are back in '88.
They're not back in the 80s. They're all like from 2014 and sooner and more recent. So those are all like, let's call them revisionists and people that are going back to review this movie because they probably already, liked it. But I wonder what if we could go back to the 80s and see what the original critics thought of this movie. I'm sure it was a different story.
I don't know if the critics would have heard of this movie, though.
Maybe it never got screened. Maybe it never got screened for critics.
There was something, too, where they it released in 88, but it says it was copyrighted in 87, and they were still filming in 87 into 88, I believe. And so maybe it just got stuck in some time loop.
Oh, well, these kind of movies, I'm sure there was all kinds of reshoots, and they might have ran out of money at one point and had to, halt production, and who knows?
I have a question for you, Pat.
Yeah.
Now, you seem to know a lot about this movie. Was this like a huge staple for you as a child? Was this like one of your favorites that you watched religiously?
So what I can tell you is that I remember watching this movie when I lived in New Jersey. So this was before my parents' divorce. Okay. I remember watching it with my dad. And all I remember is that was when I said, that movie was kind of cool. Horror movies are terrible. Why do sci-fi? But then years later, when I found the movie, I was like, about once a year, especially with Netflix, I will sit down and I will watch it about once a year. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a great movie. I look at it as like the same way that I love to watch bloopers of baseball players and football players. It's bad, but it's fun bad.
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
Yeah.
It's the train wreck that you're entertained by, and it makes you feel better about your own life.
Okay. So it makes
words to live by.
Yeah, that's good. Well, what about everybody else? Let's hear what are your general overall impressions? Was this the first time, Joe, that you ever saw this movie?
Yep.
Okay, so in a general sense, what are your overall thoughts?
Jeez.
That's a good start.
Okay. Well, this is really weird because, I feel like I need to have a different opinion on this movie. As a side hobby, I work at haunted houses.
Yeah.
I make costumes. I do makeup. And you would think that this would appeal to me.
Sure.
You hated it? I hated it. I absolutely. It was so over the top, so campy.
Okay. Look, I can see
I got questions
from this movie.
I got so many questions.
And we'll get into those, definitely.
So many questions.
I could see from watching it how people could land all over the map on this thing. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all. How about
you're not wrong.
I want to validate your feelings. You're not wrong.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about it. Kurt.
So for me, I was subjected to this movie when I was younger. My two other buddies that are not here, I will name drop, Keith Bentel and Joe Perini. They are two horror. They love that genre.
A little bit.
And they are two guys that have run haunted houses as well as, I've worked side by side with them. Mm-hmm. So when they first were like, you're going to love this movie, I'm like, I don't know. I was 12, I think, 13. And I watched it. I don't like horror movies, but as far as this being a horror movie, I was like, it's kind of creepy. I don't know if I'd call it a horror movie, but it's definitely eerie. Okay. So now rewatching it, I was like, I love this movie. It is so bad that I love it because of how bad it is. Okay. It's fun to sit and watch, make fun of. I even kind of subjected my daughter to it the second time I watched it.
Jeez.
She wants to watch it. And I was like, you can't watch it. That is not a children's movie. But this is right on the borderline of where the cheesiness is so bad.
This is a good way to ease her into it.
Yeah, because she's always like, I want to hang out with Uncle Joe and Uncle Keith at the haunted houses. And I was like, no, not for you.
What did she think of this movie?
She thought it was funny.
She did.
She laughed at it.
She wasn't afraid.
No. There was only one time she jumped, and that was when the snake clown jumped out of the toilet.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
But other than that, she sat through the whole thing and was just like, why is this happening now?
Okay, well,
why are they doing this?
Same here.
Just like,
Great.
all right. Same here.
Same here.
Now I know that a 4-year-old handled this better than I did. I can't wait. So, Brady, what about you? What are your overall thoughts?
This is a good movie to watch if you just want to turn your brain off and enjoy the antics of the clowns.
Yes.
And when I say the clowns, I include the Ice Cream Brothers as well.
Fair enough. So is this your first time ever seeing it?
Oh no, I own this on DVD.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of in Patrick's camp where you turn it on once in a while to just have a good time.
Yes.
Okay. Well, look, I saw this movie as a kid and it bothered me. Like I don't remember necessarily being terrified of it, but it made me uncomfortable. And even watching it now, I think the movie is genuinely unsettling. It's not scary, but there's just a sense of dread and an unsettled. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I have
just
theory.
the music and the acting.
It's not the music. I think
acting.
It's got a sense of foreboding. There's something immediately dangerous about the clowns, and it's not so much like that they're scary to look at it. It's just makes me uneasy, the whole thing. Do you get what I mean?
I mean, the way I look at it is it's kind of a fever dream of a movie. Like somebody that ate some like moldy rye bread had a fever dream and then came up with this. But unlike 1692, there wasn't witch trials that followed
like
it.
a 30-year-old bagel.
Yeah. Like it could have gone horribly wrong.
Yeah,
and there's
what
also
a
part of
ringing
me.
endorsement. Can we watch the moldy rye bread movie? That would be fantastic.
Did you have a thought, Joe? You seem like
I did. Okay. I did. I know why I didn't see this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because Poltergeist came out in 1982, and it terrified me.
Yeah.
With clowns.
Oh, because of the doll.
Because of the doll.
Dragged him under the bed.
That was it for me.
Right.
So I think that I heard a movie called Killer Klowns from Outer Space, and I was like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Remember that now. I'm traumatized.
This came out in 1989. The first It came out, the TV one with Tim Curry, and it was a bad time for clowns in general. And as a film, it's like plotless, listless, unenergetic. Like it's not a good movie from an objective film study standpoint.
Correct.
But there is something effective about it from an eeriness.
It's
I
the
guess.
colors.
Is it the colors?
It's the colors.
And I think that's where I was kind of going when I said it's creepy.
Yeah.
Because there is just an uneasy feeling as you're watching the movie.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, there are moments too where it's kind of gross.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of like, oh, all right, cool.
And I think it's just because they just kill everybody they come across.
Yeah. And I mean, cotton candy cocoons are just kind of
yeah.
And then when they peel it back and it's all sticky to the flesh and you see the person still inside of it, you're kind of like,
that's gross.
Well,
kind of makes me think of Beastmaster when they had those people in the sacks from the trees.
Don't compare. Don't.
We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, I'd also say that I think my background in psychology and it's unsettling that a human mind came up with this.
Yeah.
And decided to share it with other people. Like that's kind of the unsettling thing right there, because it's almost like why. And the other thing is like, what happened to this person that made this? Because I honestly think about like trauma, right? Like why is everything that is, like the circus usually has happy connotations and cotton candy. Why is this murder?
Sure.
Why is cotton candy not murder?
At one point, Debbie's character says she had a traumatic experience at the circus, right? That the clown pulled her into the middle of the ring and they all were clowning around with her and she was terrified. Maybe that was the author's story that he put into it.
Yep.
Who knows?
And then the studio was like, let's do this.
You get a young enough child surrounded by a bunch of clowns and you're talking therapy for years.
That's why I have a job.
I'm surrounded by a bunch of clowns.
Yeah, right. I'm surprised we're all not in therapy.
It's true.
You were dressed like one.
It's true.
Literally, and you got the mask, but you're not rocking. Is it because you're worried about coming through the microphone with the mask?
Well, yeah, that and just
generally not.
I got to
wanting
wear these giant headphones. Would you like me to just put it up to my face?
No, well, if you'd like to,
I mean, I could just do the.
It is a visual medium.
It's a visual medium now. Well, look, before we dive in, so I guess we are diving in because this is at the. Can you make the noises that Shorty makes when he cries? You know, Shorty's the little short one.
The shortest clown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I don't.
He makes the weirdest, most unsettling noises. Yeah, I don't know. This movie starts with, and I immediately laughed because I thought about our own movie. We made Clubless, and we hired that band to write a song for us, and they just made a song where they were just shouting Clubless over and over again, right?
Yep. Mother effing Clubless. Yeah.
And then this movie starts with a song like Killer Klowns from Outer Space. And I was like,
a reference to P.T. Barnum in there as
right.
well.
Yep.
Well, this is
guitar riff and then
this is the lyrics. The lyrics of this are so bad.
Wait. The song's like 5 minutes long, and there's only 3 paragraphs.
Well, because I didn't want to read the entire thing, but just
okay.
this is
They
just a
just
taste.
repeat it.
This is a taste. So listen to these lyrics. P.T. Barnum said it so long ago. There's one born every minute, don't you know? Some make us laugh, some make us cry. These clowns only gonna make you die. This is the song. And then everybody's running. When the circus comes to town, everyone's gunning for the likes of the Killer Klowns from outer space. And then because the ringmaster shouts, let the show begin. Send in the clowns, let them do you in. See a rubber nose on a painted face, bringing genocide to the human race. Killer Klowns from outer space.
And scene.
And while that's playing, a very young Christopher Titus
Yes.
is on screen.
Yeah.
Very briefly. But it doesn't look like him at all.
Is that his only part in the movie?
He shows up a little bit at like the
Makeout Mountain.
scene. Yeah.
Okay, because at the end I saw him listed, and I said, when was Titus in this movie?
Yeah. No, he's very briefly. He's the one that walks across the street at the beginning.
Okay.
And then like the next scene, he's the one with the red glasses.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
he's also the glasses that the cop finds
Yes.
when he's all searching the Jeep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So what is was it Makeout Mountain? What was the name? We had a name for it. It was
No, it was called Top of the World.
Top
I
of the
believe.
World. That's it. Yeah.
Top of the world.
You were on top of the world with this guy, right? So that's where the movie starts.
Right.
On top of the
We
world.
can trope that if you want.
Oh, I was.
I was gonna
beat
say
me
that's
to
a
it.
Trope.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay. It's first of all, do these places exist? Because I've seen 100 movies where there's the makeout
Yes.
spot where everybody lines up and makes out, and I never once have I ever been like, oh, there's a spot where this actually happens in real life.
Here's the thing that's more troubling about this in this particular movie, though,
Yeah.
is that trope is always high school kids.
That's true.
So these are college kids, allegedly.
Yeah.
And we find out that she has her own apartment.
That's true. I never thought of.
Why are they humping in a raft in the back of his SUV? Surrounded by
raft.
all
What are you
these
trying
other
to say?
people.
Hey, if there's anything I love more than it's sneaking out in my mom's GMC Jimmy and making out in a life raft.
Right.
You
That's
said
a
it's
good
not
time.
sexy to make out in a half-inflated life raft in a
Not
car?
with an audience.
Yeah.
And not when you have access to your own apartment with nobody else there.
Maybe out on the water. Not in the back.
Not a
of my-
half-inflated one.
No, not in my Jimmy.
I thought, because, and here's how your theory is correct, Pat, because when I saw this opening scene, I just assumed they were high school students.
Mm-hmm.
And I made the joke, I turned to my wife and I go, this guy's supposed to be in high school, looks like he's 37 years old,
Yeah.
right? But then I find out in the next scene they're in college.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's
Right.
Okay. All right.
That's the theme.
You are correct. That doesn't make any sense.
And
Next.
can I talk about that guy
And-
for a second?
Which guy?
The guy that's making out with whoever the
You
main
mean
character is.
Mike Tobacco?
Yeah,
Mike
so-
Tobacco. That's his name.
Yep.
So I was calling him Mikey McFly because I feel like if you ordered on Wish and got yourself like a
Sweater vest or sweater.
yeah,
He's the Wish Marty McFly?
yeah. I just hey Doc, these clowns are coming from outer space. Like
I thought about this guy, like I saw him because I'd forgotten, who the main characters were, right?
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen this. And I was just like, oh, here's our guy that's gonna like try to like ski for the, the center. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's going to take it away from everybody. He's the bad guy.
Yeah,
he's obviously the bad guy in this movie. Did you guys not get the crickets here? Right? There's no.
Well, I didn't. I guess I. Don't worry, I won't make you sound like but I didn't understand what you were saying.
Right. So like he just, when he comes on screen, I just assume he's the bad guy.
Mike Tobacco.
Right. And he's going to harass whoever the actual.
Because of his weaselly nature.
Oh, I got you.
Or the sweater.
Yeah, he looks like a D-bag.
Well, because he's not likable in any way. It's not like, oh, this is the hero of the story in any way, shape, or form. Right. And
he doesn't feel like the every guy.
No, in fact, when the ice cream truck rolls up, I thought that was going to be the guys. I was like, oh, these are the guys.
But and it's weird though. Like he does seem like he's like the rich kind of guy that status and everything matters, and the fact that he's friends with these brothers and like they're my best friends from school.
Yeah. From a business standpoint,
they tried.
I appreciate the hustle. I appreciate the hustle. Oh, yeah. You know where there's a bunch of people right now.
Yeah.
We're going to sell some ice cream.
Some ice cream, right? Yeah.
I just enjoy the girls rocking out from the back with their popsicles.
Yeah. I thought you were going to let us.
Yeah.
Everything we wanted.
That didn't work out how they hoped.
No.
So we're sitting here, and there's a giant comet then that comes screaming through the sky. And then, I don't know, somebody left the cliche box open, and this hillbilly fell out of it. Like,
yep.
Like
Royal Dano.
Yes.
Yeah, he's done a lot of work.
Who was in Outlaw Josie Wales with the guy that played Mooney.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's one of my, the only reason I remember that is because it's one of my all-time favorite movies. My dad used to watch that all the time.
I will tell you, though, when I'm going out hunting for comets, I bring a shovel, a bucket, and I bring my best Yosemite Sam impression. Hey, you ragged Derby.
That's what I'm saying. The guy was like a walking stereotype.
Don't forget the Bloodhound.
The Bloodhound, right? He had it all.
And the land.
I'll be hornswoggled.
It was like a Saturday Night Live skit, more than anything.
Entire nation?
I thought of Will Ferrell's gold prospector from that,
yes.
There's gold in them hills. Like, that's what I thought of immediately. Yeah. This guy, he grabs a shovel and he walks over. And then when he sees the tent, this is my favorite part, he's like, not like, okay, this is strange, we're in the middle of the woods. He's like, oh, there's a circus. Maybe we can get free passes. Yes. Now, like, I'm assuming he's lived here for 50 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah. More.
Maybe more. Maybe he was born in that shack.
Yeah.
And there's just a circus in the middle of the forest where you've lived your whole life.
I have a hard time believing he knows what a circus is. Because he seems like the kind of guy not just born in that shack, but doesn't leave.
He was conceived in that shack.
He probably was.
And kudos to the clowns for having a giant net for catching a dog.
Right.
Oh, I was so upset about the dog. Like, that guy could have died. And I was like, just don't kill the dog. And they killed the dog.
Dog was the first to go.
I almost shut the movie off at that point. I turned to Dan and I was like, if they kill this dog, I'm not watching this movie.
Yeah, but they made up for it with balloon dogs.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Which, you know what? That was probably the most clever thing in this movie. It's like, oh, you know what, though? We'll have a dog that's a balloon that's going to track a scent now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised his genius plan of punching the tent didn't work either, right?
Oh, my hand!
Because that was his big plan.
Dang,
like, you have a shovel, but you're going to punch the tent.
That was a terrible fake punch. Clearly didn't touch anything at all.
No. That was all done with sound effects. So obviously Farmer Joe or whatever his name. I don't know if he had a name. Did he have a name?
I don't know. Just
not Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry. Farmer John.
Thank you. Wait, that's my middle name, you jerk.
Okay. Farmer
Edward
Eugene. Trying to think of the most non-farmer name of all time.
Hey, wait a second. That's my third middle name.
He dies. And so this is when we meet the police. We cut into the cops here to be introduced to what's essentially the second lead. I mean, Mike Tobacco's, I guess, the hero of the story, but then kind of it's...
Are you talking about Officer Frost Tips?
Yeah. Officer Hansen.
No, is that his name? I thought it was Officer Frost Tips. I apologize.
And if you thought
That's hilarious. That's what I called him.
Did you really?
Officer Frosted Tips.
Oh, man. If you thought Mike was not cool, if you thought Mike was not a good actor, this guy's even worse. in my estimation.
But this guy, I think, has got more credits.
Oh, he's done more since.
I mean, he was in like episodes for 5 seasons. Not that this counts as anything good, other than you got exposure globally. But he was in like 5 different seasons of Baywatch as like a cop in there. And it's like
he was in 24 too.
Yeah.
I mean, he went on to have a good television career, but in this movie, this was not it.
No, he just has a Hollywood face.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
It'll put you in stuff.
But, they're arresting these 2 college guys, and this is really just an opportunity for the movie and the script to show who these guys are. And so we know immediately that Mooney, the old cop, is totally unhinged and basically wants to take these 2 guys out back and shoot them. And then the other guy is just like the constantly pressed guy that's got to put up with this old cop all the time, and he's just, supposed to be the normal guy, but he's not. He thinks he's Dirty Harry. Yeah.
Agreed. I mean, he knows how to work a shotgun. At least he doesn't pump it 8 times.
He never pumped it at all. He pumped it 1 time. He fired off that shotgun 5 times, racked it once. It's the opposite Masters of the Universe. So, Pat, Masters of the Universe, there's this character who just keeps racking his gun even though he doesn't fire a shot in between.
Nothing.
This was the anti one, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. We after we introduce to the cops, we go back now, and really, there's these first 3 scenes, and then the rest of the movie is just one big scene. Like there's at that point, it's just the clowns going from place to place.
Clowns gone
after
wild.
the setup. So with this last kind of setup scene, we go back to Mike Tobacco and Debbie, who are now also hunting for the comet because Debbie wants to, and they also find this tent. And this idiot, all the men in this movie are idiots, is like, oh, a circus, just like the hillbilly was.
It's funny, though, because he initially was the one that didn't want to go seek it out, which, of course, let's be honest, other things were on his mind with that raft, right?
Yeah, right.
But I'm also curious, how did nobody else from Makeout Point or whatever, right, like Top of the World, not also say, hey, we should go check this out? Because this thing moved close enough to their faces to move their hair.
That's true.
Like, they were blinking because there was
the radiation
wind in their
coming
face.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that's like.
Here, it came down to priorities, I guess.
Oh, that's what I was going to
guess,
say.
yeah.
Look, this is not a smart man we're dealing with. Because
No,
Mike Tobacco. Because not only does he think it's a circus, before he lands on spaceship, he thinks it's a missile silo. He thinks it's a nuclear power plant. There was another one in there that he thought. Well, he thought it was a nuclear power plant inside of a circus tent.
Well, I mean,
military
Cotton
base.
candy factory.
A cotton candy factory. Right.
Yeah.
With one popcorn machine.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a missile silo. This is looks like a missile silo to me. The only person who has a clue what's happening in this movie is Debbie. She's surrounded by morons the entire time. Mm-hmm. This is not a good. I mean, this is the first scene. I think this goes to what you're saying, Brady, about this is supposed to be the guy we're cheering for. In the first really extended time we get to spend with him, which is while they're searching out this tent, he like imitates Native Americans poorly, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Then he is like making jokes about eating disorders.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Like this is just, he's not a good dude.
Right.
And that's why I think, is that what you meant when you said you thought he was going to be the bad guy?
No, I mean this all comes later and supports that theory, but just how he looks, the sweater, he looks like he's going to take the community center away from the kids.
He looks like the bad guy in a camp movie. Yeah.
The good guy is going to ski him or some other contest.
Right.
Like when we made a movie about tropes.
Beat him in a BMX race.
It's like in Animal House, he would have been buddies.
Yeah. Oh,
100%.
100%.
Like with the dean. He would have been the guy that was trying to get
everybody
else in trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I get that.
100%. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question now that we're here and essentially we're to the point where the clowns start to show up?
Sure.
Because they're from outer space, clearly from outer space. Well, why are they clowns? That's what I don't understand. Why in their world, why are they clowns?
Why are they clowns?
I think John Gacy probably plays a role in this. Honestly, because think about there's the terror of clowns.
Yes.
That is like a pretty wide scale.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it kind of worked so well. It's kind of like, the clown is supposed to be friendly, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, like that happiness is painted on and you don't know what's truly behind the mask. And I think it really kind of taps into like a primal fear, actually, of not being able to know the true intentions of somebody that wears a mask. And I think they play on this in so many different things over the years.
And cream makeup.
Right.
No, even some fears of cream makeup.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I understand that why the filmmakers would make them clowns, because it's a universal fear. And I think you nailed the reason.
You're just talking about in their world.
In the reality of the movie, why are these aliens looking like? Why do they look like clowns? Why do they have cotton candy cocoons and shoot popcorn and like all the trappings of like carnivals and clowns and all that stuff?
Well, towards the end of the movie, they actually talk about that, and they say like, what if they've been here before, and this is what we have based our circus and our clowns off of, is that they were here at one point and we took that idea and then like turned it into our own thing.
No, I got that.
Yeah,
I must have missed that.
It was, I mean,
what about
it's not like it's a riveting dialogue that keeps you invested through the whole thing. You can miss a lot of things.
So it's not that they're based off our clowns, but our clowns are based off of them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But what about the Sarlacc at the bottom of the slide pole?
Oh, that's
What's
true.
What's that for?
Oh, I forgot about
Who
that.
knows? Like fever dreams don't have to make sense.
I'll tell you why that's there, because one of the directors was like, this would be badass if we have just a monster at the bottom of this pole.
Yeah.
That's how the movie was written, guys. Come on. they were like, okay, they're killer clowns from outer space. So, shadow puppets, popcorn, cotton candy,
all right,
balloons, clown cars, balloons. Okay, now let's come up with scenes for all of that, and then we'll write a movie around it.
All right, well, while we're here, it's time for another big-time horror movie trope. And this happened in Deep Rising, and I think in another movie we talked about too. The slow motion running, when they're running away from the clowns down the hallway, it's like they're running in place, like they're pretend running, and because the camera's moving back too slowly, and they don't want to overtake it. I died. I rewound and watched it like 3 times. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, I watched this today, actually.
The running away in these movies where it's clearly they're just trying not to outpace the camera is so funny to me. It's like you've ever had a dream where you couldn't run fast even when you're trying to.
Well, that kind of supports my theory that this is a fever dream, and therefore like people were running slow in the dream, so they have to run slow in the movie.
100%.
Well, you know what? Those clowns that trip and fall, they got long feet.
They walk like they've pooed their pants. All of them.
They were
That's
told
because
to
their
walk like
crotch
that.
is down by their knees.
But I'm saying
at the outfit I'm wearing
right after this,
now.
this is when they head to town, and they got to walk past the sign that says 5 miles to town, and they're like, squish, squish, squish. I'm like, it's going to take them 7 days to get to town.
But that's another trope. The bad guy moves slow.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Michael Myers.
Yes. They're in a dead sprint. They drive to town. Literally 2 minutes later, we're cutting to these clowns walking past the convenience store.
Right.
Like they got there instantly.
But they got the one that zips around with the lights on his feet.
Yeah.
Running cars off the road.
The one with the
we don't find out about that till later. At this point, all we see is them walking with poo pants.
It explains how they got there. Maybe they just were like, oh, drop off a load and we're gone. See you later.
But they were actually told to walk like that. That was part of their acting where they
that was their acting?
They were told.
Like, how would we walk if we were interstellar killer clowns?
And they were told to walk as if they were underneath water.
Interstellar?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's what it was.
That's what they are.
It would have been a better title than Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I think it would be Interstellar Killer Klowns.
From this point on, the scene's kind of intercut. From this point on, it's just like a bunch of vignettes, like almost like Suburban Commando, when it was just like, we need to fill out this movie, so we'll just have random things happen.
Yeah, like Brady
around
said,
town.
Just like let's start covering all the cheesy bases.
And so we have a bunch of scenes which we'll touch on here with the clowns doing different things, intercut with like, we'll call it mild police work, right? I mean,
Oh my God. You're not gonna get me today.
It's also intercut with the longest shower of all time, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
That's
Because
I'd forgotten she had gotten in the shower.
That's what I'm saying.
several
the
times.
shower was over.
They cut back and forth to her because at this point, Mike and her go back home. Now Mike's driving around. They convince the cop that, well, they at least convince him enough that to investigate because they says people died. And the Mooney thinks they're all crazy. And so from here on out, she's at home and Mike Tobacco and Officer Hansen are driving around, intercut with the Klowns killing people. But while this all happens, they keep cutting back to her. She's still in the bathroom and still in the shower. Like 40 minutes later.
Well, she did have that detachable shower head.
That's true.
So, I mean, she...
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She also apparently has 5-foot hands and arms because when she attacks the one that comes out of the toilet,
Yes.
that thing's up
Yeah.
5-6 feet above the shower.
Yeah.
But then she's down in the tub and
Yes.
just reaches up,
Just
grabs it, jams it in the mouth of the one.
That's right.
Come on.
Yeah, so
From a plumbing standpoint, that's unacceptable.
now we've gotten to an area of expertise for
triggered
Kurt.
the plumber.
What do you think it would cost to come in after the fact and get those clown snakes out of the toilet and the sink and all that stuff?
I'm charging extra. There's no way.
Well, they're dead.
I'm not rodding clown guts out of my...
Yeah, but she did defeat some of them by just draping the plastic shower curtain over
true.
them.
Well, also, they'd
don't
still
have
be
any
alive.
arms, so they couldn't get out of there. They were trapped.
So part of the job is going to be killing the two that are still alive.
Right. That's what I mean. I got to charge extra.
And then you have
okay.
to snake the clown snakes.
Right.
You got to snake the snakes.
Yeah. I hate snaking the snakes.
Here's the thing: there is a sequel to this movie,
Oh.
and is that how we got there? Did they come back from space, or are we dealing with the plumbing?
I didn't know there was a sequel to this movie.
I think the popcorn.
Wait, is there a sequel?
Yeah,
Can we talk about the popcorn and how the heck does that work? The popcorn comes alive and turns into clown snakes?
They're seeds.
But at other times, the popcorn is captured people.
Right.
Yeah.
Because remember, like when the shadow puppets came to T-Rex,
Right.
ate the people.
Yes.
He brought the shadow back into his hand and then dumped the popcorn kernels into popcorn kernels into the bag.
Yeah.
Correct.
So maybe they actually become clowns.
I am tripping
Maybe they
balls.
become clown snakes. So you capture the shadow puppets.
They turn them into popcorn people.
And then maybe the popcorn machine is what keeps them fresh and keeps them moving.
What are we doing?
And then they can take them and plant them on people.
No, they shoot them out of a
Shoot 'em
gun.
with a gun.
Yeah.
Oh, this makes total sense now.
But does it though?
Yeah,
getting
absolutely.
lightheaded.
Because I thought the people were their sustenance. They had to eat the people.
Maybe it depends
so
on how
why
they
would
wanna
they
use
want to
them.
make more clowns to have to feed more mouths?
It's the process in which you make them.
Please make
So
it
if
stop.
you do shadow puppets, you make the corn,
Okay.
then that's what you put into the machine, and then that loads those guns.
Is it?
Or you
Is it
take
hot
the
in here or is
laser
it
gun
just
and you
me,
shoot the
James?
people and turn them into substance. There's two ways that you can prepare your people.
I guess.
Let's go a little deeper. I'm going to go cross-eyed. Okay.
Okay, my bad.
Where am I?
The movie never had a sequel. It's quote unquote in planning.
Yeah.
Well, there was another somebody that did an interview with the brothers earlier this year. I tried to listen to that podcast, but the quality was terrible.
Oh.
But it sounds like they're still talking about the possibility of making one because right now that's what
good.
Hollywood does. Just
Well, let's
reboots
hope
and
they do so they can keep us in business. That'd be great. So of all the clowns in the death, this movie had a body count over 40.
Yep.
By the way, what was your guys' favorite clown kill, so to speak, in the film? You got gazebo clown, right? Think of all the different ones that were in there. I'll start out. My favorite was the gazebo. So first of all, the acting of the guy that comes in
Yeah.
to the gazebo.
Some dude walking around the park.
I think he was just a guy walking around the park and stumbled into the movie, and they're like, "Let's take care of this."
I thought for
Hide it in our movie.
I thought for a moment that he was a mute because he's like laughing without making noise while the puppet show is going on. But then he kind of squeals after the actual clown gets up and rises up and breaks apart the puppet stage. Incredible acting by that guy.
Yes.
The guy or the guy in the clown?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Gazebo clown was
Or
my
the
favorite.
puppets.
Just because of how terrible the reaction of the guy getting killed was. That's why I loved that one. What about for you guys?
I think I'd probably take the short clown.
Okay, Shorty.
Uppercut.
Oh, the biker bar. So this reminded me of
I'll do
Garbage
that
Pail Kids. you got to go to a biker bar in these 80s movies and cause trouble in a biker bar.
Right.
That's the bigger trouble. Yeah, so that one was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one as well. I don't know if I want to say my favorite kill as much as my favorite moment, and I laughed hysterically at, was the moment when she wanted to jump out the window. And there was four of them with fire hats on, like fireman helmets, and they're like, no, go ahead, jump.
Yeah.
That would be great.
We'll catch you.
Yeah. We had a net.
This is why the movie was unsettling to me, though, in a way, because I think this is why the movie was so unsettling, because it's almost like they're everywhere, they're omnipresent, and they're just all powerful. Like unless you pop their nose, they can't be killed, and so. It's like being trapped inside of a cartoon almost, right? And that kind of creeped me out that they were just everywhere.
I did like that, though. I did like that's how you end the clown, is you have to pop his nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how about the guy finds out when he's in the police station?
It was a super cool weak spot.
And then he now finds out, okay, this is how you have to kill him. But then he doesn't shoot another clown in the nose till much later in the movie after that.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of that police station.
Yeah.
The way that Mooney gets killed isn't necessarily the best kill in the movie, but I did enjoy the ventriloquism.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty good.
I thought that was the scariest part in the movie. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I think it's because it's done by a guy that's actually a good actor.
Yes.
You know,
100%.
Well, and his hand comes out. I love the clown.
Yeah.
He's like, and he just throws the bloody hand off, and it smacks onto the floor.
Which is funny because there was no blood pouring out of the guy who got his head punched off.
No.
He just fell to the ground.
No, but the best part of that, when the guy gets his head knocked off, is the one biker goes, "Damn!" Just run away.
I like the prop body that just
collapsed perfectly.
That was a nice series of collapses.
I will say, I also in the Shadow Puppets enjoyed the all of a sudden the like American tribute. Just them on the boat and
Washington crossing the Delaware.
Yeah, and it was just so hilarious to me.
That was the only time in the movie I laughed out loud, was when I was not expecting the cut back to the crossing the Delaware thing with this shadow puppet. Incredible. Brady, what was your favorite kill?
It was the shadow puppets.
Okay.
But I do want to point out before we get an angry email.
Yes.
The whole ventriloquism thing was foreshadowed, because earlier in the movie, he's just like, "You're not going to make a dummy out of me."
Oh.
Yeah. And then they did. Yeah.
He deserved it, though.
That's...
yeah, he did.
Him and his drinking whiskey.
He straight up, at that point when the clown walked in the police station, the phones were ringing off the hook. He had straight up stopped answering the phones. How many people did Mooney just let die?
Yeah.
Right? I did not feel bad at all for him.
You know, the funny thing too is, like, when your actual uniformed officers are answering calls, it tells you how small of a town this is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yet at other times, there's a big enough downtown area and a college.
They have like 4 cops.
And a biker bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, budget. Yeah. The police work in this movie is terrible just in general. I mean, there's just, and this is kind of a thing that happens in these movies all the time. The procedure goes out the window. They don't follow actual police procedure. It's whatever the plot needs them to do, they do. I mean, at one point he arrests Mike for absolutely no reason, right? He thinks he's, like I said before, he thinks he's a Dirty Harry. One of my favorite line readings in this movie was the way the officer hands him. I said he thought he was Dirty Harry. He went so hard in the paint in this one line. He goes, "I'll tell you what the facts are, mister." I'm like,
but it's funny because this comes after he tries to tell Mooney that he has to do stuff by the books when he's arresting the 2 people that were walking through the park, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, "No, you can't do it this way." Then he threatens Debbie if she won't stay with them, that he's going to lock her up in the jail for her own safety.
So I'm saying no procedures followed.
Then he makes Mr. Tobacco still sit in the back seat after she gets out of the car.
He's like, I'm going to sit in the front seat. No, get your ass in the back seat.
Yeah, well, we find out that he and Debbie had a history that's his ex.
And that's why I think it's dangerous in the beginning. Like the thing that really bothered me at first was when I didn't catch quite away. It took a couple watches to really kind of catch. These are not high school kids.
No.
And that was what really creeped me out. Like, why is the cop dating a high school kid?
Yeah.
And the town's just cool with that. Like, yeah, Officer Hanson here to pick up Debbie after homeroom. Like, there should be a problem with that.
There should be. And there's a weird dynamic between the three of them kind of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I also say I thought it was super hilarious when Mike and Officer Frosttips are out there.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is where the tent was, man. I don't even... Oh, and then all of a sudden he's like, I'm arresting you.
That's what I'm saying.
There's a giant fucking hole. Yeah. Excuse my language. There's a giant hole right out in the middle of this forest. You do some work, man.
Clearly there wasn't anything here.
Yeah. Nothing here.
Yeah, investigate.
Right.
Obviously, there's nothing in this hole.
Yes.
Investigate the sudden sinkhole. Like, that's something that a cop should probably investigate, or at least call somebody and be like, hey, you know what?
That's just what's going on. It's a perfect circle right here in the woods.
Looks like there was a circus tent here, sir.
Or a missile silo.
Right. That's true.
Or a nuclear reactor. I don't know what.
But that's what the cops do. The cops do when an emergency happens, their choice is,
This guy, and just in a general sense, just the lack of urgency with the police is amazing. There's points in this movie where people are dying left and right, and then it'll cut to Mike and Officer Hanson, and they're just kind of cruising around, like la 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 la, like, and add to that the fact that the town itself should be panicking in the streets, and it's just like people are going about their nights like nothing's going on.
This is what life was before the internet.
Well, I mean, even that giant clown mobile vacuum sucking up the cocoon body.
Yeah, right.
It's a whole parade going down the street.
No one knows. So right before that, they got them driving on the street. They're just kind of cruising. There's people out walking their dogs. There's people walking their dogs. There's people going about their evenings. I noticed this now ever since we watched Masters of the Universe, and they couldn't afford any extras, and the streets were empty.
Yeah.
Okay. But this, like, they actually had extras walking around. They turn a corner, and it's just clown parade.
But did you notice the one extra who was hiding under the car?
Yes.
Kind of hiding under the car.
Yes. And then made a break for it, but directly into the path of the clowns is his decision.
But there was that unsettling scene with the Big Top Burger where the clown is outside
trying to lure
that young girl over. Because in the 1980s, you had all of this like satanic panic that was going on where people were like terrified that children were being abused and abducted everywhere. You sort of drop that in there. I can imagine somebody watching it in the moment of this stuff going on is like, now I got to worry about clowns abducting my kid too.
I'm going to have to teach my kids not to go outside because there's a creepy clown going,
Right.
That was like some Pennywise vibes there from like that moment right there, like trying to lure the kid away out into the darkness. Yeah, that was unsettling.
Can we also talk about the scene where shortly after the shadow puppets going on, Mike Tobacco like jams his foot over onto the gas, and it's the worst car crash I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, the acting
where
in that
like
moment,
everybody's just like, we barely touched the wall. they're all like leaning forward, like they just.
What are you doing? You trying to kill me?
Where did the clown? And then they're like
the crossed wrist, head down.
That's right, cross wrist.
And then they look out. Where's that clown go?
He does it a second time too.
Yeah.
When he hits the back of the ice cream van.
Yes, he still does that same cross the arms and put your head on the steering wheel thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like
It's bad stuff.
Yeah.
So at this point, the mild police work has turned up no leads. Debbie has been abducted, stuffed in a balloon. Stuffed in a balloon and not a cocoon. She's the only one that didn't get cocooned because she has plot armor, right?
Yeah. It's unbelievable that this is when they introduced the balloon.
Just cut him off. He was going to explain. He's like, nope, that was it.
Okay, sorry.
No. That's it. There's a couple different things with the way that they kill people, right?
Yes.
So first of all, you have this cotton candy, right? Whenever they peel it back, it's clearly acidic. You know, it's breaking down.
Yeah, that and the pies.
Right.
But nobody who touches it has their hands burned or anything.
Good point.
And then, yes, the pies, you know, they all throw the pies at that one guy, and then there's bone left.
Yeah, and the guy just picks up with his finger.
Can we talk about can we talk about the no sell when they walk past melted guy? Like Mike Tobacco is just like, well, and just keeps going.
Yep.
I'll be just like no reaction at all.
Well, I mean, look at what they've seen so far.
But it's still a melted human person.
He also didn't, when Joe Lombardo that he kept talking about, and then McCready, who was played by Titus, and finding the glasses. These are friends of his. He has no reaction to the fact that they have been melted and stuffed in cotton candy. Like, ever. He's never like
turned into Slurpees.
Right. He never has a moment like of just like, what is my life going to be after this? I'm losing the people that are closest to me.
Oh, what's this? A melted guy down here? All right, let's go.
We talk about
Tuesday, have a haircut.
How unhealthy that is. I mean, they're supposed to be eating these people, and they're picking. They're basically leaving the Ziploc bag open just to let all the and then how unhealthy the guy that's going out sneaking sips of the cocoon.
Brew that crazy straw. I want one.
I was like, man,
I want one.
If I found out that somebody was stealing my food,
yes,
I'd have been like, cut it out, Carl. Get out of there. Knock it off with the crazy straw.
Oh, that was the big chunky boy. That was a certified chunky clown, right?
He was big chunky
That's the one they got to watch. He's the one always sneaking back there to take some sips.
And apparently the ball chick, the ball pit chick women, I don't...
All right, hold on. We're getting way ahead of ourselves here. You're jumping all like on top of all the best jokes. All right.
We got a time limit. That's why.
We go to the amusement park. At this point, we find out that this is where the final
battle.
The final battle. The tent has moved.
Boss fight.
The boss fight has moved to the amusement park.
Right.
They roll up there. The night watchman, like, they got to put a clown car bit in this movie. It's a movie about clowns, right? So the car pulls up.
Brady called that.
All the clowns pour out of it, and the best acting in the movie is this guy's reaction shots as the clowns
trying
start
to
come
enjoy
out.
a sandwich.
Right? He gets melted. They show up, and the Terenzi brothers are now with them at this point, right? The guys that run the ice cream shop. And the four of them, like I said, no sell the melted guy and go inside, okay? Well, let's talk about what you just brought up. I just wanted to catch everybody up here, okay? At one point, they're inside they're back in the spaceship underneath the tent. And out of nowhere, the Terenzi brothers just fall through the floor.
Yeah.
And they end up in a ball pit.
Door, right.
And they end up with a ball pit.
Yes, absolutely.
And who's in that ball pit with them?
This is fun. There's just two clown women down there.
Not just two clown women.
Inflatable balloon
With
boobies.
blow-up boobies.
Yeah.
They're just inflating in front of them.
And how come they didn't get killed?
But remember, early in the film, or earlier in the film, when he tried to get the Terenzi brothers over to Debbie's house,
Yes.
it was that
they were
she
really
got
hot.
two hot roommates, and they had big boobs.
Roommates,
So it's like, and that's the other thing. It's like unsettling. The clowns are hearing all of these conversations and then using people's likes against them.
Oh, so it's like Facebook.
Exactly.
Man, and then so then the crazy straw guy, the fatty McFatterson,
the clown looking for a holiday ham,
right?
Yeah,
chunky boy
walking around,
comes in
sticking straws
at work, eating other people's
and so
lunches
out of the fridge.
When they realize that they're eating or drinking them, the chunky boy leaves and he screams, "They're gonna eat us, man!" Like as loud as like clowns in the next tent overheard you. Okay.
Let me shoot a gun
to open that balloon.
Quiet. I'm going to shoot a gun.
Quiet. I'm going to shoot a gun.
I'm going to shoot
Where's
a gun.
Your silencer? Give me 2 pillows.
Just a puff of flour.
Officer Hansen finally starts shooting clowns in the nose. And his incredible acting skills, a couple times he'll shoot a clown in the nose. And before he continues to run, he gives the camera a little "I'm awesome" look. And then continues to, right? Do you remember that, Brady? He just shoot the guy. And
there was a few no sells in there where it's just like, did something just happen? It looked like he was about to say, like, can we take that again?
Did you also notice
it's horrible.
Yeah.
Did you also notice in that scene, or in that like kind of chase scene, there are 3 clowns.
Yeah.
He shoots one. Next segment, there are 3 clowns. He shoots one. Next segment, there are 3 clowns. He shoots one.
Yeah.
There are not other clowns joining. It's the same 3 clowns every time. It's true. And it's like, wait a second, you are literally doing nothing.
They only could afford 5 suits.
Right.
So,
well, until the end scene. I mean, then there was there was a ton of clowns coming out everywhere.
It's true.
They couldn't afford more bullets,
that
though.
King.
They get to
king of the mountain of climbing clowns.
I thought that was American Gladiator.
But they before that, we get Mike Tobacco giving his best acting of the movie, where about 4 different times he keeps opening these doors and he's going, another door. The same way every time he gives the same. They might have just looped it and used the same take 5 different times. Is probably what happened.
It's like, hey, Mike, at what point did you not understand that these were clowns? And that this is a fun house.
Right. They get into the next room, and the clowns are surrounding them. And we think the Terenzi brothers are dead, but they crash through the wall in their ice cream truck, which has a giant clown head on it. And so as our heroes, in quotation marks, are being surrounded, they pretend like they're the Wizard of Oz and just start, let them go. I am the clown god, or whatever it is they say. And these guys start to back off. Yep. But I have a question. This is the most important question in the entire movie to me, because I thought the Terenzi brothers were dead too, but they show up with lipstick all over their face and their clothing all torn apart. Did they have sex with those clowns?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, at least third base.
They did.
I don't know if it was all the way
I need to know if the Terenzi brothers actually did those clowns.
I think it started off consensual. And then I think there was a no somewhere.
You think they got raped by those clowns?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
No, the opposite.
What?
Maybe that's the sequel. Maybe there's like a human killer clown hybrid that's coming now.
I was so unsettled. I'm like, okay, everyone's just focused on how happy they're alive, but that begs a question. Why are they alive? And what happened?
Maybe they were that good.
Maybe they had
the Terenzi. They're the Terenzi brothers from nothing.
Killing this.
All right.
You're going to have to bleep this. They had to fuck their way out of a hard situation.
They slayed those clowns.
Keep that one.
I feel like they totally buried that whole thing, and that's just
no pun intended.
No pun intended.
They buried it.
They buried the most important question.
Popsicle sticks deep inside some clowns.
Because no one's asking the important question.
It was hard for them.
No one's asking the important question. How did they survive? And what did they have to do? And was it worth it?
I think it was totally worth
it. They weren't sad. They weren't traumatized.
Trauma. Well, I don't know. Maybe they were hiding their trauma.
Could be.
So they fight. Oh, go ahead, Brady.
Yeah, they definitely pulled the Danny Aiello in Hudson Hawk.
Oh, 100%.
Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? This is the 3rd time. I can't remember. What was the second one, the movie that we did that same thing happened? Somebody showed up at the end, and we related it to the Hudson Hawk thing. Well, this is the 3rd time.
Judge Dredd?
Might have been. But
it's a trope.
It's a trope. It 100% is.
Can I say something about this scene, though? All right.
With the giant clown? Yeah.
Yes. So I enjoy that either they're so amazed that they don't run. The brothers just slammed a hole through the wall.
Yeah.
Turn around and start running.
No, you're right.
Don't stand there and just wait for this giant clown dog thing to and they're all just standing there in amazement. They're like, oh, here it comes. Oh, I mean, it took forever to drop out of the ceiling. They could have ran.
It's true. They could have been gone.
They all just stood there and waited.
I believe that thing is called Clownzilla.
Yes. Clownzilla.
Yes. All right. Fantastic.
Which is a good enough ending. He uses his badge to pop the thing's nose.
God, that is I have so many problems with the fact that, first of all, is this like the McGruff crime dog badges we would get as kids? And then he just pokes this nose of the biggest thing out there.
Yeah.
Right. These things have survived being hit by cars.
Right.
These things have, all these different types of things. And now, after killing all of them with a gun, a thumbtack.
That's true.
Takes it all. Not just the clown, but the entire spaceship then explodes.
Yeah. Was that Clownzilla the main power source of
guessing.
the tent?
Apparently.
I mean,
and why aren't all three of our heroes dead too? Because at this point they escape, the spaceship blows up, and they all look up, and all those pies fall on their face. Why didn't they melt?
That's exactly, that's the other. I mean, first of all, the fact that the Terenzi brothers and Officer Hansen survived in a clown car.
Yep.
When this explosion happened, pretty instantaneous from him poking him in the nose, he somehow gets in the clown car.
Yeah.
And then, they all just get, and they don't react as if this melted a guy's everything but his bones off.
Yeah.
They get hit with it, and it's like, this is bozo. We got pied.
Like the joke.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Can we just, but
Got pie in the face.
the weird hug between the three of them.
Yes, that was my other question. So at the end, right after this, he kisses her.
Yes.
He's standing next to Mike and kisses her on the back of the head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And she doesn't react, and he doesn't react, and it's totally left
Snuck one in there.
He's also holding her hand.
Yes.
And her arm close to him as they're going through before they get to Clownzilla.
But it's it's left totally unexplained.
And he's just cool with this dude making moves on his girlfriend in front of him.
So are they together now, or is it?
I think it's a throuple.
Is it a throuple?
I think it's a throuple. That was an awkward hug. It reminded me of the hug that Jason Sudeikis gave Carrie Brownstein and Fred Armisen in one of the episodes of Portlandia when he was up at his cult. And he that's what I was thinking was going on.
Yes.
Like, he now has them both.
Okay, well, that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
But I immediately saw that and I went, and they're not going to explain it? Because maybe it would explain it if she turned around and kissed him, then be like, okay, they're together, whatever. Because even earlier when they were running, she was holding on to the officer and not her boyfriend.
Right.
But he didn't react. So maybe, if he had sold it and gone, oh, shucks, and walked away, okay, fine. But there's no explanation at all. It's just, they just exist in this weird moment together.
Correct.
And then it cuts away.
There's a lot of shit.
It.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy that they ended a scene on a cream pie.
Yeah. The movie ended on a cream pie.
I mean, that's so unrealistic.
It is. I mean, of all the things they could have done.
What kind of movies you're watching, Chris? I've seen a lot of movies like that.
All right. So right now, we're going to move on.
It ended on the money shot. Let's be honest.
Oh.
There we go.
We're going to move on to our awards section of our episode. But before we do that, if there's anything on your list or your notes that you haven't gotten a chance to talk about yet, now's the time to put in all of the little things. What are some of the little things you guys noticed or loved about this movie that we haven't had a chance? Think of this as our miscellaneous bin.
I do enjoy that when they popped the noses on the clowns.
Yes.
They all exploded into confetti.
That's true. Instead of blood and guts going everywhere.
Yeah. And it was just like, surprise, happy birthday. It just
I did
made
like
me
that.
kind of chuckle.
For me, I don't know why I love this so much, but Titus, when he's walking across the street at the very beginning of the movie, I just like the brand of beer he was drinking.
Beer.
It's just on the side of the can.
More generic than
It was
beer,
like a white
all
can with
caps.
black letters.
Yes.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. I want some beer.
Probably says manufactured in America.
I would like to try a beer.
A beer?
I mean, it's got to be good. It's named after what it is.
Yeah. I mean,
It's just beer.
it gets right to the point. What's inside this? Beer.
It's beer.
Got
I
it.
clearly could not afford any.
Even better. Then they came out with another, and it's called canned beer.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
It's a stupid joke. Sorry. Just cut that one out of the whole fucking thing.
Cut that one right out.
Yeah. And I dropped the F-bomb, so he has to.
Any other little things you guys noticed about this movie that you want to include?
I thought it was interesting that the two bad guys in the jail. They just seemed kind of pointless to me. You could have had that whole scene without them, and I just didn't. How were they important to the movie?
They weren't.
Was there anything?
Nobody in this movie was important to the movie.
I mean, I think they were.
Was it just to
That's
have
the tagline.
Was it just to have the arm
Nobody.
come down and scare people a little bit with a surprise scare? Is that basically?
I don't know.
I mean, I think it did kind of. I think what they were trying to do was set the mood for who was the crooked cop and who was the good cop. But then immediately in the next scene, he starts threatening to. Hansen starts. After being so about protocol, threatens to jail Debbie just for her own good because she won't listen to him. That
I don't think there's.
But you're
any
right.
hero.
None of them are meaningful to
The
this.
one moment of real acting I felt was right at that scene was when Mooney smacks him in the back of the head with his flashlight.
Yeah.
And the head turns around and he's like, the fear that is in his face, and he's like, shut this door, shut this door, shut this door.
Because he's the only good actor in the entire movie.
I just thought it was great. I was like,
it's great.
That's pretty awesome. I was hoping to see more out of him.
That was the Jaws, we're going to need a bigger boat moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
All right, Brady, you got anything before I move on?
The shower scene, she's getting in the shower. They pan down to the popcorn on the floor. And the popcorn's crawling. That's amazing.
You appreciate
Especially
it
for that budget.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a well-done effect.
Very good effect.
Yeah, it's good. All right, so let's move to our awards. We have got to, listen, it's a dirty job. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. We have got to give awards to this movie. Probably the first people to ever give awards to this movie. We are going to give out first our Will Patton Award. This, as many of you know, is the award that we give out to someone who had a smaller role in the movie, but was really, really bringing the intensity, really giving 110%, and just going for it in every scene that they're in. So, who are your nominations for the Will Patton Award for Killer Klowns from Outer Space?
I'm going to start. I can start. The pharmacist.
The drugstore guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
But they just use the same shot of him every time.
I get it.
They cut back to the same shot like 9 times.
Yeah, it was just the little old man squeaks coming out of him.
Yeah.
And trying to still be polite and professional.
Yes.
Please stop destroying my store. Meanwhile, there are multiple cocoons.
Yes.
Of people already in cotton candy.
Yes.
As they go through the scene, and he's just like, don't destroy my store.
Maybe just leave.
But then the
Those people are dead, but who cares?
That's right.
The giant pile of Doritos and snacks and everything else that the clown's pulling up there.
He's still going to check out.
And he's like, oh, all right, sure, we'll do this. I just don't.
Yeah, so they never say if the drugstore guy even gets killed or not. Maybe he doesn't.
Well, he calls.
That's true.
And he makes some weird noise.
Because that's the one who Mooney's like, wait a minute.
Okay.
What, even you?
Yeah, but then he was screaming in the background.
Oh, so maybe he did get killed.
Yeah.
Off screen. Yeah.
All right, Kurt, who's your Will Patton Award nominee?
Mine's going for the little girl during the clown luring.
The
scene.
Pennywise scene in the McDonald's.
I thought she was kind of. I thought without her, that scene wouldn't have worked. And I thought it was creepy enough. So
perfect. How about for you, Joe? Who's your nominee?
Farmer Gene Green. What in the tarnation's going on here? He sold it.
Okay.
I mean,
I just blanked on the actor's name.
Royal Dano.
Royal Dano.
Yeah.
I was going to call him Dan as his first name. I knew that wasn't right. Royal Dano.
he put it out there.
So did that dog.
Rest in peace. Hillbilly Jim or whatever his name was. Brady, who you got for Will Patton?
I'll pass.
No, that is not an acceptable answer.
I can't pass.
Nope.
Because I have to name what garbage can full of dirt later, and
yes.
then
Yes.
and then 3 good actors, right?
So, just what you thought the top 3 performances were. I mean, it's not that they were good, but in this movie they were the best. Okay.
So that means I need a 4th for the Will Patton, right?
Unless you want to give it to somebody, in your top 3. I mean, for me, for my Will Patton nominee, I'm giving a joint nomination to the Terenzi brothers. They weren't in the movie that much, and I thought, they were more believable than any of the other main characters. I thought, as far as their delivery and all that. So I'll give it to the Terenzis. Who are you going to nominate, Brady?
I'll go with the pharmacist.
All right. Well, then there you go with 2 nominations. The pharmacist, whoever you are the Will Patton Award winner for Killer Klowns from Outer Space. So next up, we have our Trash Can Full of Dirt Award, which came from our Spy Hard episode, which is which actor in this movie's part could have been played by a trash can full of dirt. So, Kurt, we'll start with you. Who is your Trash Can Full of Dirt winner?
I just can't stand the main guy. I hated him so badly.
Mike Tobacco?
Yes.
I also nominated Grant Kramer. Oh. Grant Kramer gets 2 nominations right off the bat. He was a terrible actor. I mean, the one guy thought he was Dirty Harry and he was playing it a little over the top. The girl, I thought actually, Debbie, Suzanne Snyder, did a fine job. And same with Mooney. He was legitimately terrible.
Yeah.
And he had the charisma of a jar of dirt, basically.
A jar of dirt.
I don't know.
Trash can full of dirt. How about for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah.
Same. I mean, like
It's gonna be another clean sweep, I think.
he was awful. I mean, I kind of want to give it. I kind of want to give it to Hanson.
Yeah.
Just because, you know.
At least he had
he was a dirty cop.
Yes.
I mean, but then he starts getting into like it's more like the character development that's bothering me about him more than anything. But the acting,
yes,
from Grant Kramer. I mean,
it's terrible,
awful.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys just pick one. Everybody is just so
casting director.
Well, look,
I mean,
you can't be wrong then. Look at it that way. You could literally throw a dart at the cast list and be right.
except one.
So just put your finger on your telephone and just say, this person.
The one, I mean, I get it with Frosted Tips over there. And I get it for a lot of whatever, but they were still the main characters. And they were kind of, they had a reason to be there. Okay. The worst acting for the absolute no reason whatsoever was the gazebo guy.
Oh, so don't feel bad about that pick. He was my second choice.
Okay.
Gazebo guy was terrible.
That was just...
Yeah, I can't even recreate. I was like going to try and recreate it.
And pointless at the same time.
Yes. It was terrible.
And whatever he was wearing, just his fashion sense was off as well.
He wasn't. He couldn't have been an actor. He had to have been like, hey, look at that guy walking over there. We need a guy. Grab him.
He was like early Twilight series. That's what I kind of felt.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. All right, Brady, who's your trash can full of dirt award winner?
It was, I was starting with Gazebo Boy, but once you guys mentioned the main character, whatever his name was,
Grant Kramer.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Mike Tobacco.
Yeah, that's right.
What a great name that is.
Yeah. He went up in smoke.
All right, well, looks like Mike Tobacco is going to be our winner. Well-deserved, but honorary mention for Gazebo Boy. Mike Tobacco is the jar. I keep wanting to say jar because of Pirates.
Give
jar
that
of
a
dirt.
round of applause.
Yeah, 100%. Congratulations, Grant Kramer.
It's the first time.
Sorry, gazebo guy. I tried.
His name has been said more in the last 5 minutes than it has been in his entire life.
Even
by his own parents. Oh, jinx! You owe me
a Coke.
I hope he finds
There
this.
you go.
All right, so top 3 performances. We gotta get through this quick. So just give me your top 3, and we'll see where the cards fall. Kurt, who are your top 3?
Number 1, I'm going with Mooney.
Okay.
I enjoyed just as an 80s character who he was.
John Vernon.
Yep. I'm going with the girl for number 2. Main actress. I thought she, had a lot of believable scenes in the fact of her fear and,
I thought she did good.
And then for number 3, I'm actually going with all the people that played in the clown suits.
Bro.
I feel like without them, this movie would have been nothing.
All right, so we have almost exactly the same. I went with Suzanne Snyder at 3. John Vernon above her at 2, but then I had the clowns at number 1.
All right.
So, but basically the same.
Nice.
Patrick.
So I'm going to put John Vernon at number 1.
Okay.
Suzanne Snyder at number 2.
Okay.
Who, by the way, is in an episode of Seinfeld as a Nazi. In the limo episode.
That's her?
That's her. And she's in another episode later down the road. But like I started watching it now that it's on Netflix. I mean, I have the whole box set, but I started watching it again. And last night I watched that episode.
There you go.
And then
Number 3.
Number 3, man, that assumes like people are good.
Or just the best, like the best of the worst, like
Yeah. I'm going to say the security guard.
Okay.
Nice.
The Night Watchman.
It was supposed to be Soupy Sales that played that guy, but they couldn't get him because of like contract reasons.
Terrible.
But what are you doing with those pies, boys? Like, he delivered the line.
That's right.
And then he died.
We'll give it to him. As a payback for nobody caring that he died.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Top 3.
Again, John Vernon.
Yeah.
Susan Snyder.
Yeah.
And then it would probably be, again, as you kind of point out, some underdogs, because I'm huge underdogs, whatever. Slug. It was his name.
Slug.
That's the biker guy's head.
The guy that got his head punched off?
Yep.
I thought about putting him at number 3. I was going to go with the guy that just yelled, "Damn!" I was like, that was the third best performance in this entire movie.
Yeah, that's old one.
That's a good. I like the guy, the bike Slug. That's a good pick. Brady?
Okay, Vernon, the old coot, whatever his name was.
Royal Dano.
Yeehaw,
Royal
tarnation.
Dano.
Royal Dano, sure. And then again with the names, but the Tetrazzini brothers, whatever.
Yeah, the Terenzi
What were
brothers.
their names?
Absolutely.
Terenzi brothers.
All right.
Those guys were fun.
Perfect. Well, guys, in our last couple of minutes here, I'm just going to ask the question that we always have to ask. We've kicked this movie. We've poked at it from every angle. We've turned it around. We've slapped it around. Now we've got to answer the question. Is Killer Klowns from Outer Space a bad movie?
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
I mean, the term bad movie was probably born after this movie. And if it wasn't, it was just foreshadowing.
All right, but is it bad or is it good bad? Because those are different things.
I'm going to say good bad
I'm
because
saying bad good.
I can watch this. I can watch this every Halloween,
Yes.
and I feel like it would kick off the holiday season
Perfect.
for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Same.
I'll say it's a good bad movie. Because a bad movie, you're just like, I'm never going to watch that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will still recommend this movie to people.
Perfect. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, look, guys, this has been a barn burner of an episode. I had a blast, and I'm really just thrilled that we had a chance. So, Patrick, thank you for coming all the way down
absolutely.
here and joining us.
100%.
We really, really appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you.
And join us next week. We're going to be talking about one of Kurt Mummer's draft picks.
Yes.
One of the best movies to heavily feature 2 ferrets. We're talking about Beastmaster next week. So that's going to be great. So make sure you tune in for that. So we appreciate that you've been listening. Thanks for listening all the way to the end. If you did, I imagine you also love this movie. So if you haven't watched it yet this Halloween season, go turn on Killer Klowns from Outer Space. In the meantime, this has been Bad Movies Rule. We will catch you guys next week. For Brady Cox, Joe Gorotowski, Kurt Mummer, Patrick Riley, I'm James Hauser. Thank you for listening.
Now, what if Dutch from Predator came down and just started killing all the aliens?
That's a part 2 I could get behind.
But does Arnold Schwarzenegger make this movie better?
Yes.
Is that a joke? Arnold is Mike Tobacco?
Oh, man.
Oh, it's a circus. Let's go.